first off, just let me say it is so great to have everyone here today on this, what is an auspicious occasion. We are joined by our Lieutenant Governor. We're joined by our Lieutenant Governor, Antonio Delgado. I'm so glad that he was able to make it here for this event. And of course, the dean of our delegation, Harry Bronson, and Assembly Member Sarah Clark is here. Vice President of Rochester City Council, Lachey Harris. Miguel Melendez is rushing in back to town. He's on his way back here. He probably won't get back in time for this. And then also our Northeast District Council Member, Michael A. Patterson, and Council Member Mitch Gruber, and of course our Commissioner of Neighborhood and Business Development, Dana Miller, our Commissioner of Department of Environmental Services, who I've been on to saying, when is this going to be done? We want it done. So, Mr. Lieutenant Governor, I've been on him. I've been making sure that the state dollars that have been spent on this great project is going to be done. But today we're here to speak briefly and cut a ribbon on this. Oh, there he is. Okay. So I joked with the Lieutenant Governor. I said, Lieutenant Governor, you riding a scooter? And they said, no, it's Assemblymember Meeks, Mr. Lieutenant Governor, that's riding the scooter. So showing up just in time on his scooter, environmentally friendly, we'll be happy, Assemblymember Demond Meeks. And it's great that our state partners are here because this would not, let me be clear and underscore this, this would not be possible without the administration of Governor Kathy Hochul and our New York State delegation. I just want to say that clearly. So please, let's thank, again, these folks. So today marks a significant milestone in the ongoing transformation of our city in the vibrant Genesee River front. We gather today to dedicate this awesome new space as Austin Steward Plaza. Austin Steward Plaza, a centerpiece of the Riverway Main to Andrews West project, a monumental endeavor that reflects our commitment to enhancing Rochester's waterfront for generations to come. We know that ROC the Riverway began with a visionary investment of $50 million from New York State. The completion of the Austin Steward Plaza and the adjoining Genesee Crossroads parking garage represents over $20 million of an investment that would not have been possible, as I said, without our Governor Kathy Hochul. This plaza will breathe new life into our downtown riverfront, creating spaces that celebrate our history, promote accessibility, and foster community engagement. Here, at this spot, we honor Austin Steward, a Rochester abolitionist, author, entrepreneur, orator, and educator who achieved freedom from slavery, opened a successful business, and pioneered education for black children. His first business was just right across from here. Austin Steward opened a business right across from the spot in 1817 and was active well into the 1860s, making great strides just before Frederick Douglass came to Rochester. He was chosen to speak on July 5th, less than a week ago, in 1827, to mark the end of slavery in New York State. And he remains an inspirational figure and an example of black resilience. We have a bust of Austin Steward, but I gotta find a way to get it chained down because someone can just lift it up and steal it right now. So it's right now in the public library, but we have a bust of Austin Steward that we hope to be able to bring to this park. This site was not just badly in need of repair, it was crying out for revitalization. And because this is a PG press conference and a PG ribbon cutting, I won't use the word that Michael A. Patterson used of what this space looked like. But today we stand on 127,000 square feet of redesigned public space, meticulously crafted to mirror the graceful flow of the Genesee River itself. This plaza is a testament to our city's resilience and ambition. This plaza has a tiered design that echoes the structure of the Genesee Crossroads parking garage below and offers scenic views and green spaces, as well as improved linkages to our downtown core. It's a place where pedestrians and cyclists can traverse effortlessly, where families can gather and where art and culture will be welcomed. From park seating to public promenades to open green spaces, Austin Steward Plaza is designed to be a vibrant hub of activity and community vitality where events can be held. As we celebrate this momentous occasion, let us also acknowledge the teamwork and dedication that have brought us here, from the city employees, the contractors, the engineers, community leaders, businesses, and residents whose vision shaped this project. Together, we have not just built a plaza, we have created a legacy, a space where the past meets the future, where the river's story intersects with our own. And I wanted to make sure that we picked this date to make sure that our Lieutenant Governor was going to be able to be here. It was very important for us to have New York State and the Hochul administration present here to mark this momentous occasion because they said yes to this vision, yes to Rochester. And I cannot thank the Attorney General, the Lieutenant Governor, and the Governor for their support of Rochester. So I want to bring up to the podium, we got to raise this mic because he's tall. The Lieutenant Governor of the State of New York, Antonio Delgado.
Yes, good afternoon. This all blurs sometimes, but it is good to be in Rochester, and it is good, Mayor, to see you. Thank you kindly on behalf of the governor as well for the opportunity to lift up and celebrate this monumental occasion, and thank you very much for your leadership in this endeavor. I want to thank all of my colleagues in government at the state and city and neighborhood level. It is a village that requires change and that can enable change, and it takes collective cooperation at all levels of government. As we all know, today's announcement is part of the critical ROC the Riverway initiative, which is a series of projects that will create a seamless connection along the banks of the Genesee River. The riverfront here in Rochester is filled, as noted, with history and beauty, but for too long it has been underutilized. Through the partnership between state, local, and regional partners, we are revitalizing this area so as to retain and attract new businesses and opportunity for years to come. Today is a perfect example of what we can achieve through our partnership. The reconstruction of this plaza and renaming of it to the Austin Steward Plaza would not have been possible without it. Of course, I'd be remiss to not mention that this project is the largest state investment of Phase 1 of ROC the Riverway, coming in at $12 million. But in addition to the funding and investments made by the state and our partners, this would not have been possible without years of community engagement and input. It is critical that these projects have local buy-in, support, and that the folks who call this city and region home have a seat at the table when these projects are constructed. Our goal with these projects is to ensure that they reflect the communities they serve. I want to note, for this project in particular, we are improving the plaza in a number of ways, like the mayor talked about: improving lighting, green space, views of the river, ADA accessible connections between Main, Andrews, State, and St. Paul Streets, as well as on the Sister Cities Bridge. Additionally, numerous walls that have blocked views have been removed. Collectively, these improvements have created a key site for various programming activities, as well as serving as an everyday riverfront park for downtown residents. A true transformation that we know is a massive and long overdue upgrade. I also want to just take a moment to say how incredibly humbled I am about the fact that this plaza is being renamed Austin Steward. What an amazing life. From being born into slavery in Virginia in 1793 to starting the first black-owned business right here in Rochester during the 1820s, to serving as vice president at the first Black National Convention in 1830, to presiding over the New York State Black Conventions in 1840, 1841, and 1845, and simultaneously devoting new energy to anti-slavery, black suffrage, and temperance causes. What an amazing life. Austin Steward's leadership, entrepreneurship, bravery, and love for this community and for country, despite the hate he faced daily, is exactly the type of legacy we need to uplift and celebrate in our state and in our country. He took the tools and resources he had and invested them back into his community. He taught others, provided opportunities, and inspired so many. So as we continue to revitalize and enhance opportunities for folks from all walks of life, may we let Austin Steward's legacy serve as a constant reminder and guide. And indeed, let it be a true inspiration. And on that note, I just want to say we have a lot more work ahead of us to do, and we should stay inspired, particularly as it pertains to the ROC the Riverway initiative. The plaza upgrades are part of a 4-phase undertaking now known as the Riverway Main to Andrews segment. Other upgrades include work on the Sister Cities Bridge, Genesee Crossroads Park, and the implementation of the State Street connection to the Genesee River Trail. In addition to the transformation of Austin Steward Plaza, Phase 1 included investments in 13 targeted projects, all of which have been completed or are currently under construction or design, including the Aqueduct Reimagined project. Phase 2 of the initiative, launched by the governor in 2023, is highlighted by the establishment of a High Falls State Park within the historic Genesee River Gorge in downtown Rochester. An incredibly exciting development for the folks right here in Rochester. We got a lot going on.
Yes, that's right.
We got a lot going on.
Right.
And that is the point. Governor Hochul, myself, and our entire administration is completely and entirely dedicated to continuing our partnership and collaboration to ensure these incredible ROC the Riverway projects reach the finish line. That partnership being right here in Rochester. And I want to thank everyone here for being a part of this process, for the work that you all do day in and day out to empower this community. God bless.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Lieutenant Governor, for being here and again for lifting up all of the work that the state has committed to Rochester. I always say there is no I, it is only we. And that collective we is the state. And staying on the state, I want to have, on behalf of the state delegation, the dean of our delegation, Harry Bronson, who has delivered time and time for this community, including this past year, along with the governor, come up and say a few words. A great partner, the dean of the delegation, Assemblymember Harry Bronson.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you. It's great to partner with you and others in government and to follow your leadership and your vision to have spaces like this that recognize Black history, New York State history, American history, and to make sure that future generations understand it. Lieutenant Governor Delgado, thank you so much for being here and supporting the city of Rochester, the greater Rochester area, and thank you to Governor Hochul as well. We couldn't do this without Governor Hochul. I remember when she first took office, ROC the Riverway was one of the first capital projects we talked about in the various aspect of it. And as a chair of the Labor Committee in the Assembly, I have to give my labor friends a shout out. Can we give a shout out for the labor? Yeah. And my delegation team here, Assemblymember Sarah Clark, Assemblymember Damon Meeks, this is his district right here, along with those who aren't here, Assemblymember Jen Lunsford, Senators Cooney and Rook. We all work hand in hand together. We work for the greater Rochester area so that we can bring capital dollars here for these types of projects. And our friends in City Council and at the city level, thank you so much for being a partner in this. I know we all have the same goal in mind, and that is to make the city of Rochester the best it possibly can be. And this park is a part of that. This park is a part of that. Austin Steward's legacy is a part of that. We must remember and honor the true history of New York State and what people of color brought and built our state and our country. And we must recognize that. And Lieutenant Governor talked about moving forward, and we've got a lot of work to do. We know we have a lot of work to do in the city of Rochester. We know segregation still is a problem for us to address. We know the disparity between people and neighborhoods of color. We know that all of that needs our attention. And we have to do that, as the mayor always says, we have to do that as a team. And certainly one of my roles is always to push to make sure our economy, our workforce is more equitable, more inclusive, and to make sure that we're giving opportunities to be seized upon by folks who have been on the economic sidelines for far too long. But we do that in recognizing, in the context, the history of what people of color have brought to our state. And this park honors that history, and I'm glad to be a partner in it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And now representing the president, who couldn't be here, our vice president of City Council, Lachey D. Harris.
Thank you. I have to adjust the mic a little bit. I'm short. Today we celebrate not only Austin Steward, but the resurgence of his nearly forgotten legacy. And the legacy that he left that was abundance and prosperity in Rochester. Austin Steward was one of the first giants of social economic progress in Rochester. As we all know, as it was mentioned before, he was born in 1793 into slavery. He became Rochester's first black business owner. He owned a meat market. How practical. His history, his story is often overlooked. I don't remember learning about Austin Steward at all in high school. I learned about him as an adult. So this entrepreneur, he proved that equality, prosperity, and progress was possible. And it still is possible today in Rochester. Even before contemporaries like Frederick Douglass, Hester C. Jeffrey, another forgotten soul, and Susan B. Anthony. As we mentioned earlier, he wrote the book. He wrote many books, and he wrote one book, and he wrote on and lectured on social and economic and political equality. And he in his book, he chronicled his life about his slavery and his business efforts. And I want to quote a couple of things that I've picked out of his book. He writes, in September 1817, I commenced business in Rochester. Having rented a room of Mr. Wakely, I established a meat market, which was supplied mostly by my former employer. See that partnership. He started off with partnership. Mr. Comstock was liberally patronized by the citizens, but there were butchers in the village who appeared to be unwilling, and I should have any shared public patronage. So he talks about the challenges, and he still overcame those challenges. And he goes on to add, this year I purchased a lot of land, 18 by 50 feet, situated on Main Street, for which I was to pay $500, an investment. And I won't read it all, but this is very interesting. And I really love that he chronicled those things, those challenges. Even despite those challenges, he still moved forward. Rochester, we have many challenges, but we're still moving forward. We're not going to let those challenges stop us, just as Austin Steward and our other forefathers and forewomen who have not let those challenges stop them. So we must continue to move forward. His legacy moves on, and he's one of our own pioneers that we are going to permanently install today with his name on this park. And thank you.
So before this event, I was speaking to some students at the University of Rochester, students, and most of them had never heard of Austin Steward. I said, well, now you have a place where you can walk where Austin Steward walked, where you can look where he did business. I mean, think about how powerful that is. Probably in his wildest dreams, he probably wouldn't have thought that there'd be a lieutenant governor with the last name Delgado and a mayor with the first name Malik. So it shows you that we've come this far by faith, and I hope that the legacy and life of Austin Steward will serve as an inspiration while also preserving this beautiful space right here in the heart of our city. I also want to call up Michael A. Patterson, followed by Councilmember Mitch Gruber, and then Dana Miller will close us out with, now Dana's a historian. Now Dana, it's hot. So don't give us the Britannical. We don't want the Encyclopedia Britannica version. We want the Reader's Digest version. Yeah, that's right. 5 B's. Be brief, brother, be brief. And then we're going to celebrate by cutting that ribbon, because I know the Lieutenant Governor's got other stuff he got to do over the state, so we want to be judicious with his time. So with that, Councilmember Michael A. Patterson.
So I'm real short, so I almost have to drop the mic on the floor. Look. Yeah, the PG version. This is much better than what it's replacing. Yeah, I'm just going to stop right there. It's much better than what it's replacing. And to that point, this is the beginning. I always believe in stealing a good idea, and I have to thank New York State for their help in helping us to do this. We are endeavoring on creating a river walk in the city of Rochester that runs from the Erie Canal to the Lake Ontario. In an ideal world, you'll be able to transverse from there all the way down there and enjoy our river. A thing that as a longtime city of Rochester resident, we've literally acted like there wasn't a river in the city of Rochester. What are these things that cross the water? Why do we have bridges? Oh, because there's a river that runs through the middle of the city. That's why so we're embracing it. But not only are we embracing the river, we're embracing a new sensibility in history. We are striking the names of people who held others in bondage. We are doing that in this space. I will not mention that gentleman's name because we are renaming this space for an African-American gentleman who encountered and overcame tremendous odds in this community and was always striving forward at a time when the notion that he would hold these beliefs were so foreign that it was just beyond the pale. And so I'm happy that we're doing this, but one of the things I've always joked with Councilmember Gruber is that not for nothing, but we have a whole city named for a slaveholder. So in the course of renaming things, it's called the city of Rochester now. The question will be, what will that name be in the future? Because if we are going to be internally consistent and intellectually honest, this name can no longer stand. And so on that note, I'm going to slide over and give it to Councilmember Gruber.
Leave the Councilmember Patterson and always drop the ball. Councilmember Mitch Gruber.
Thank you very much. I want to start by just thanking the Hochul administration, Lieutenant Governor, for being here, thanking the Evans administration. We are making unprecedented investments in parks and green space. We see it all over the place, and it's a really wonderful thing, and we need to obviously keep doing it. I just want to note that in December, I'm really only here to say one thing. In December of 2021, Mayor Evans' last council meeting, when he was a colleague with Vice President Harris, Councilmember Patterson, and myself, and it was then President Loretta Scott's last meeting. And one thing that I have been working on with her was writing a resolution that we passed that very night that was titled Resolution to Identify and Rename Public Spaces Named for Slaveholders. And we called out this particular park as a place we were going to highlight. We also called out, by the way, Councilmember Nathaniel, Rochester Square in the South Wedge. We didn't get to talking about the city yet, but we'll have that conversation another time. I just want to read one snippet from the resolution. It says, whereas one way to own up to the failures and to live up to the successes in the city's mixed legacy on racial and social justice is to assess who has been honored and who has been overlooked in the naming of the city's streets, parks, and public places. It's pretty remarkable that we are making headway this fast after passing this resolution, and I just want to thank the commissioner, the mayor, the whole city administration, and of course the state for helping us get to this point, and hopefully it'll be the first of many. Thank you.
Thank you. And last but not least, before we cut this magnificent ribbon, let me bring up Commissioner Dana Miller, who's responsible for the Neighborhood and Business Development Department. Commissioner.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate the opportunity here. I am going to endeavor to be as brief as possible because it is hot. But I just wanted to add a little bit of detail around the man that we are honoring today, because as you've already been told, he arrived here as an enslaved person with the Captain William Helm household. And that household consisted of 117 enslaved people. What the Helm family did was when they decided to move to what they called the Genesee country, which is what we now call Rochester, he sold all but 30 of those people to get the money to come here. And then he decided to come here just by himself with the 30 enslaved people. And he rode in a wagon that had food for the people, and the enslaved people walked 20 miles a day for 20 days to get here from Prince William County to, actually they went to Sodus originally and later settled in Bath. During that time, Austin Steward was essentially the house person, and he was to stand in the house at all times and be ready to do anything the family asked of him to do. He didn't have a bed. He slept on the floor in the room where the masters slept. But what he did once he got here, he was hired out, and once he was hired out, he had a little more freedom. He purchased a spelling book. He taught himself to read. He learned about economics and decided that, as you've heard, he would open a grocery store. But he didn't just open a grocery store. He also purchased property, multiple properties right here on Main Street, but also in Brighton and in Canandaigua. So he realized that having property was a way, even though he was not free, to be able to start to create wealth. And at a point, he decided, I'm really free. He declared himself free. And although they issued ads in the newspapers offering a $40 reward for his return, that was in 1817. $40 then is about $2,300 today. So I could imagine that people would actively be looking for him, and yet he never got caught. And in fact, the other challenge was it was still legal to hold people in slavery. In New York, being New York, we do things in sometimes a challenging way. New York was one of the last northern states to abolish slavery, and we did so in a complex way. In 1799, a law was passed for gradual abolition. Not full abolition at that point, gradual abolition. It freed no living slave, but what it did was it said anybody born after that day in 1799 would become free if you were a girl at age 25 and if you were a boy at age 28. But during that 25 or 28 years, you were required to still serve the master of your mother as an indentured servant. So as a result, the last person was not freed until 1827. And that 1827, on July 5th, was when people actually celebrated. They got together, they had a great celebration. Austin Steward gave a very well-received speech, and he also helped, as we mentioned, build a church, build a school, build many things in this area. And by that time, he had been married to his wife, Patience, for many years and had 7 children. In 1840s, he campaigned for the right of these now freed blacks to be able to vote. And in that campaign, he hosted an event with a young speaker here named Frederick Douglass. So they were contemporaries for a while. And after that, in 1857, he published a book, 22 Years a Slave, 40 Years a Free Man. And this book I would highly recommend to anyone who likes to understand a little bit more about our history. It is a very well-written book, and I highly recommend it. So thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you. He did a great job. He did it. He did it in the Reader's Digest version, but there is so much history and so much there for all of us. So I want to just again, in closing, let me express my gratitude to all of you who have contributed to this remarkable achievement. Remember, it's we, not me. And along with the state of New York, this plaza would not have been possible without Rochester Gas and Electric. I want to thank the city engineer and design lead, Holly Barrett. I don't know if Holly's here. Holly. The city project manager, Jason Vandermark. City construction project manager, Matt Putnam. Design consultants, T.Y. Lin International and Olin. Construction management, Lero. And then constructing contractors, Crane Hogan, Ferlaro Plumbing, and Invictus Electrical. Austin Steward Plaza is more than concrete and steel. It is a symbol of Rochester's commitment to progress, inclusivity, and to the beauty of our natural surroundings. And may it be a testament to our shared aspirations today and an important moment in the history of Rochester. I want to thank you all for coming to officially honor and dedicate the Austin Steward Plaza. So with that, I would ask all of our dignitaries and some of the folks who helped make this project possible to head over just behind the tent. We will do it very quickly. We will cut the ribbon, and we will officially open Austin Steward Plaza. 3, Austin Steward! Woo! We're officially open, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.